Welcome back to the Den Studios podcast. So, today we'll be talking about marriage, the good, the bad, and the God in it. This is not just a highlight reel, this is about the process.
Yeah, because marriage doesn't just reveal love, it exposes self. It's where God uses partnership to make you more like Him.
Absolutely. So, this is the Den podcast. We are here. My name is Erica.
And I'm John.
And we are the co-founders of Dominion Nation Training Center in Wayne, Michigan, which is the metropolitan Detroit area. And we do this podcast as an extension of our training center, just to talk about topics that are interesting in general. Sometimes it'll be a extension directly of our training if we can't get to everything on Saturdays, because we meet every second and fourth Saturday in person. But if we can't get to everything, we will come here to expound and answer additional questions. If not, we just gonna kick it.
Sounds good.
Because I like to kick it. So, like I said before, today we're talking about marriage. And so I guess we'll just kind of talk about our love story, and how we got to where we are. And then from there, kind of go into some questions that we think that you guys would ask. But if we don't answer your question, leave your question down in the comments below, like, share, subscribe. And so we can always do a part 2, part 3, part 10, because it's our podcast.
Okay.
And we do what we want.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So we have been married 14 and a half years and together for, it'll be 17 next week.
Next week?
16? Oh, God.
17.
Is it 17?
Yeah. That's what you always say. Like you've been saying that this year.
No, I think it's 16.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's 2 years off. Yeah, that's right. So, sorry. Be mathing. So we've been together 14 and a half years. It'll be 16 years together next week.
Okay.
And you want to tell the story of just how we got here, just to like the point of getting married, or do you want to start at marriage?
To the point where we got here?
I mean, to the point of where we got married, because I mean that's pretty convoluted.
Convoluted, okay.
I mean,
you can start it and then I'll fill in.
Okay.
Because you love stories.
I do love stories. So we met at church. At the time, we were attending a church called New Breed in Detroit, and one of my friends and fraternity sisters asked me to come and do some poetry. So I came, and I ended up joining the church shortly after that, and we just kind of were people who saw each other at church. I wouldn't even call us friends at that point. It was just like, oh, that's John. He's the keyboard player. And so I was on the dance team, and then I moved over to the worship team. And when I moved to the worship team, I think that's when it was like, oh, that's John, the keyboard player.
Okay.
And so at the time, I was asking one of our friends about John and like if he was single and all this other stuff. And she's like, yeah, he's single, but he wouldn't want to date you. And I was like, dang. But yeah, but I am not I grew up in the church, but I ain't grow up in the church. I don't know how to explain it. I love God for real, y'all. I always have. But I have never been one to conform to societal norms, even those in the church. I'll say it like that.
Okay.
So I was a rebel without a cause, for lack of a better term. And drinking, smoking, doing all the things. And John, I did not know at the time, but I know now, grew up very in the church very much. And
save out of the womb.
Yes. Smoking tongues.
Speaking in tongues out of the womb.
I guess the perception was that he was more saved than I was. and he would not enjoy the likes of me.
That's how we was raised too. We
It
thought we was more
is.
safe than others.
Yeah, but guess what?
Pentecostal
You see
apostolic.
where we at though, right?
Pentecostal apostolic.
Okay.
Speaking in tongues. As the
Period.
Spirit of God give utterance.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. You go
You gotta
back.
have the voice as
You
well.
go back so easily though. Like you could tell it's really deep down in you.
That's all I really knew.
I
Like,
know.
seriously.
So from there, we actually went to one of our friends. I was asking about him and everybody just kept telling me the same thing. So I was like, forget it. And so one of our friends is a professional opera singer, and she was having an event at the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. And I asked him, and it was so random because I think everybody was gone from church at that point. We were like one of like 3 or 4 people that was still there, and I was like, "Hey, are you going to, her event?" And he was like, "Yeah, but I ain't want to drive." And I'm like, "Well, I'll drive. Where you stay at?" And come to find out, we live like 8 blocks away from each other. And so,
Stalker.
what? Don't get cussed out on this podcast. So fast forward, we ended up riding together that evening. And then we got back to the house, to his house, and he was like, "Oh, you're cool." That's literally what he said. He said, "You're pretty cool. You should give me your number so we can hang out sometimes." I'm like, okay." So I gave him my number, not thinking nothing of it. 2 or 3 days later, he called and was like, "Hey, you should come over and hang out." Also, keep in mind, he worked midnights, I worked afternoons. So I think it was like 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, who does he think I am? But also, I had to think about it. It was his morning because that's usually when he goes to work. Um,
Yeah, my time schedule was off.
it still is.
Well,
from time to time. And so, extreme long story short, we started spending time together. He was very anti-dating. I was like, yeah, okay. And then we started dating, and we were dating for about 6 months. And he looked at me one day after fasting and praying and was like, "I can't do this anymore." It's like, what?
God is leading me in another direction.
Yeah, it was like, it's too much. I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, oh, okay. So he broke up for like a month, and then he came back like, my bad.
God is not leading me in another direction. Misheard
that. I'm like, do he really hear? Who is he talking to? Casper. So yeah, after that, we dated for another 2 or 3 months, and then I found out I was pregnant. First try, knocked it out the park.
That was tough.
Good job. So I was super sick during the pregnancy. Also, we had not really told anybody we was dating for real. I think maybe about 5 or 6 people in our super inner circle knew. So the fact that I was pregnant was super surprising to everyone.
Yeah, and I felt like a sinner as well.
So yeah, because and not
only
of the church. Not only was he a sinner, I was Jezebel because I led him to sin. Although that is absolutely not what happened from my recollection. I ain't gonna put your business out there, but that's not what happened. And so
I was the aggressor.
Yeah. And so we had to go on our repentance tour to our friends and our family and explaining. I don't think I had even met your family by this point. And I think
you did, but it just wasn't a lot.
Oh, yeah. So I went to a couple events, but it wasn't like a personal, like, this is my girl.
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, this is my friend Erica. We kick it from time to time. So we had to go on this tour and explain it to my parents, his parents. My father was ecstatic, by the way. Everybody else, not so much.
And my dad wasn't too bad.
Yeah, your dad wasn't too bad.
I mean,
your mom wasn't too bad either.
You wasn't there. What I told her.
Oh, okay. Well,
Evangelist Howell.
well, my mama thought it was the end of the world, so it couldn't have been no worse than my mama's.
True. My mom didn't think it was the end of the world, but she was so disappointed.
Oh no, my mama was
She's
just
like, Mom, I'm so disappointed too.
frantically like, how could you do this?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we
I didn't know you was gonna tell this part of the story, by the way.
That's why I asked you if you wanted me to start at the beginning or not.
Oh no, that's good. It's
Oh,
good.
okay.
It's good.
Well, I mean, we can answer questions though about like, having a baby out of wedlock and how to
Yeah.
recover from that and all that stuff. If they come in the comments. And then
I thought
after
we was keeping it, and God just kept us the whole time.
No, that ain't the real
He
story.
spared us, and we just did it the right way all
Absolutely
the way
not.
through.
You know I ain't gonna tell that story because that's a story. That's a lie.
Well, a lot of that's going around now.
Yeah,
People
well,
just making up stuff.
Well, yeah, dog, we don't do that over
No.
here. And so yeah, so after we told everybody, I think everything kind of settled down about month. I think I was pregnant, like I was like 7 months pregnant when everybody just figured out like this is happening. You either gonna get with it or not. And then we had our son that January,
Jonathan
the second,
Mhm.
who was he's an amazing kid now, 14 years later, but he was the best baby ever.
He really was. He set us up.
Yeah.
I kind of blame him
For the
second
okie
one.
doke. Yeah, we thought we could do it again. Dumb. And then yeah, that was January, and then one day out of the clear blue sky in April, this one goes, I think we should get married in July. And I'm like, okay. And so, in fact, we did get married July 15th,
Yeah.
2011.
That's
And
correct. Your mom put a gun to my head and said, if you don't marry my daughter, I will kill you.
yeah, well,
No, I'm just
I actually believe that. I know she said something because you don't really move with it unless my mama says something. So yeah, that's our origin story. Did I miss anything? I mean, that's the very expedited version of it, obviously, but that's yep. And then from there, we were in marital bliss for about 6 years, 7 years. And I had Jeremiah. Well, we had Jeremiah.
Well, it wasn't 6 years later. Was it? They just 4 years apart, aren't they?
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm expediting the story.
Oh, okay.
So we got to about year 6 or 7, when it started being like, huh.
Excuse me. Oh, that's what you was.
Huh. Yeah. So no, everything was going good, but I will say this, when you are hyper focused on other things, because we was broke. Like we was broke.
I don't know if we were broke. We were just.
We got our lights cut off a couple times. We was broke.
Oh, okay.
We was on food stamps. We was on WIC. Like,
Dang. Cold blood.
yeah, let's not forget where we came from. We was broke.
I ain't forget. But I think we were. I think I was in school. I think you were in school.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't broke by choice. I mean, like by default.
Yeah, but then
We
I had
was
quit.
hustling.
Then I had quit my job.
Yeah.
To go to school full time.
Yeah.
For nursing.
Yeah.
So that was some of the reason.
Yeah.
And I was just doing weekend work and like playing at 3 or 4 different churches.
Yeah. So yeah, but we was broke.
Dang.
We were. And then I was working as a CNA. I think I was making like $10 an hour or something.
Killing them.
Thought I was. At that afternoon shift premium.
We both were CNAs.
Yeah.
Killing them.
It was tough.
No.
It was tough. But my point is, when you're in the grind, it's very hard to see the relational part of your marriage because there's always something to do or somewhere to go or some like the kids or there's always something else that's to the forefront. And so
watch them and who's gonna be here at this time, trying to match schedules.
Yeah, and be a person, and like it was just bare minimum at that point. And I think when we bought our house in 2017, Jeremiah was 2, and I had back-to-back surgeries. So I had a bowel blockage, and they had to remove 13 centimeters of my small intestine. And then the very next, like 8 months later, I tore my meniscus and I had knee surgery. And I think that was really when it started. Like,
I thought you tore your meniscus when you were pregnant with Jeremiah.
no,
Oh
remember?
yeah, we were already moved and Jeremiah was
Yeah,
already
so
moved.
I injured it when I was pregnant
Mhm.
with John,
Then you tore it with
and then I tore it after I had Jeremiah.
yeah.
Yep.
Somebody
So,
turned on you.
yeah, well, it's been doing that for a long time. Um, so yeah, so somewhere around year 6 or 7, it got tough, and people talk about that 7-year itch, but it's real life, and I think it's because you're in such survival mode so many times in the very beginning that by the time you get to year 7, you kind of wake up and you're like, "Who am I? Who are you?" I've been momming and
Yeah.
working and daughtering and wifing all these years, and I've been doing it to the ability of what I thought a wife should be or what
Mhm.
I thought a marriage should look like. And somewhere around year 7, you drink the Kool-Aid. You take the blue pill and you kind of wake up and you're like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Like, what is this? Where am I at in life? Where am I at in this marriage? Like, you start reevaluating things. So I think that was
And
the
then you also try to figure out who you are because you can get lost in all of it.
yeah.
And I think that's the bigger thing. It's
Yeah.
like figuring out who you are because you can really be no good to anybody if you can't figure out who you are.
Yeah.
You can play that role for so long, but if you have no insight to who you are as a person, what you're supposed to be doing
Yeah.
and what God has called you to do, you just play the role until you fizzle out, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I think that's what happened to us is we kind
Mhm.
of fizzled.
Yeah.
And so we had good conversations about it and like the things that we felt like we needed to work on for ourselves and for each other. But I think somewhere around year 10 we just got tired.
Yeah.
Tired of like having the conversation, tired of doing the work, tired of I mean, we had just went through a pandemic.
Mhm.
Um yeah, and so I think everybody just kind of got tired.
Yep.
And the other person became the enemy.
Jesus.
I mean,
Mhm.
literally, it was like I remember you saying stuff, and I would just be like, "God, he gets on my nerves."
Hater.
I was, and it was just like, "Golly, all the time." Like, geez, I gotta get out of here.
Mhm.
So, and then year was that 13, 13 year? Yeah, right after our anniversary. Year 13, it had gotten so bad that, John asked for a divorce.
Mm.
You said it like you didn't do it.
Mm, mm, mm.
And so we were separated for a couple months,
Were we
and
separated though? I don't think we were separated.
who was separated?
We were still in the same house.
That don't
We
mean
just
we
wasn't
wasn't
really.
separated. I took this ring off and threw that joker on the counter and was like, "Well, guess
Yeah,
that's
we
that."
were. We were separated. We were. I think the separation was about a month, maybe, but we were talking about what we were going to do and how we were going to do it because we had came to the point where we had been through counseling a few times,
Uh-huh.
probably like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
We went through some church counseling. We went through some non-church counseling.
Yeah.
We went through the mixture of what one person was offering,
Yeah.
you know, and it didn't necessarily work per se, but I think really there's a lot of work that you have to do outside of just counseling. And like I was saying earlier, if you don't deal with internal things, you won't really have a marriage, because there's so much internal things that you have to deal with
Mhm.
that if you're not willing to deal with you, it's going to be hard to deal with others,
Yeah.
especially that's close to you.
Yeah.
And we all have traumas. I think traumas came up at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Our own personal traumas,
Yeah.
like even like having a baby out of wedlock. That was a thing.
Yeah. And
Feeling
then
like you have to do certain things in order to rectify
mhm.
certain issues. Like, well, I got to do it the right way, and this, that, and the third. So you're trying to please people
Yeah.
instead of trying to figure out what you really want and who you really are. So it's just a lot of nuances.
Yeah, and it's the difference between, like, trying to keep yourself as a individual and pride. right? Because I know there was a certain point where I realized that being a mom was so encompassing, and it was just like I'm fighting to be myself. But how much of yourself can you be in marriage as far as like when you're not operating in pride and you're being selfless and you're adapting and you're conforming and you're trying to figure out how to love the other person and it's like how much of your thoughts and ideologies can you really hold on to? And so I think that was a big thing for me, as well as the past traumas. Like you can only listen, I grew up in a house where people was talking crazy.
Hmm.
And so I can't live in a house now where people talking crazy. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it was just, identifying those triggers of being like, I really don't hate you, but sometimes your tone reminds me of when I was growing up and it puts me back in a place that I just don't want to be in. I just don't desire to go back there.
Yeah.
And so I need your help in that. And also, like, that's an opportunity for you to be prideful too, right? Like, I just talk how I talk, and you either gonna accept how I talk or you just not, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's like, that's really, to me, when you talk about marriage, I think those are really the points of contention
Hmm.
that end up becoming unreconcilable differences. It's just literally pride.
That's kind of boiling it down to it. Yeah, pride is a huge factor,
Yeah.
and if you have pride, and I think everybody has a level of pride. I don't think
Yeah,
you can
for
be in
sure.
flesh and not have pride. But if you don't address the pride, you won't have a marriage. But what was the hardest part? What would you say the hardest part of marriage is or was for you that you didn't know coming into it?
Um, So a lot of times people say like, "Oh, your marriage is what you make it, and your marriage is between you and your spouse, and you guys like take you all's beliefs and what you want to see, and you make it your own," which is true. However, if what you want is a fairy tale story, then it doesn't matter what y'all come up with; it'll never happen. And so for me, I had how do I want to say this? Successful marriages did not come often seen in my family,
Okay.
right? So people stayed married, but they didn't stay married successfully, right? And so I knew what I did not want to be. And but the polar opposite of that was now I have to have a Cinderella story for it to be successful. And that's also not realistic and not true, right? So I was fighting so hard not to be this that I overemphasized something else that was like the polar opposite. It was like a complete pendulum swing of what realistic marriage looked like. And so I still didn't have a realistic point of view going into marriage, even though I had a point of view that was opposite of what I grew up seeing. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So trying to change that perspective into a real realistic point of view and not a perceived realistic point of view was very difficult. And then you also have to remember when we got married, social media was just coming out. So it wasn't a thing like it was before. And so that saying comparison is a robber of joy, I think is the
Something like that. Yeah.
saying.
Hmm.
That is real life
Yeah.
because the more you stay on social media and be like, he be buying flowers and he be cooking for his one. How come I ain't getting that nigga that can cook for his one? You know what I'm saying? Like the more you see it, the more you just like, I'm getting the short end of the stick.
Hmm.
And it's like, that stuff ain't real, girl. Like they did that for that video. And as soon as they hit cut, like that they ain't nobody clean that kitchen. Like,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? So it was really shaping my expectations and making them realistic. What about
Okay.
for you? What was the hardest part?
Um, the hardest part for marriage for me was the mirror, because your spouse is a mirror to you.
Yeah,
That was the hardest part for me is seeing myself through you or where my shortcomings were.
yeah,
And that was the hardest part of the marriage. It was some other things
Yeah.
with that. But the biggest thing was me seeing myself through you based off of your response to me. I don't know if I was ready to deal with that for like the majority of the marriage
Mhm.
because that's something that's a big undertaking
Yeah.
to start like literally dealing with yourself and your issues and your proclivities and the way you talk and the way you treat um people that are closest to you
Yeah.
and so that's hard.
Yeah. And it's also difficult too because I didn't like being on the other side of that. Like I knew that some when I did certain things, it showed you, but I also felt like me showing you made me the bad guy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was like the mirror was creeping up and I was grabbing it and putting it back. Like, no, not today, please. This has been enough. So yeah, watching the journey on both sides of it was tough too.
Yeah. But I mean that's the point. I don't think people understand that's kind of the point of marriage. It kind of really shows you who you are and
Yeah.
where you need to work and what you need to work on and allow God to really, especially if you're talking about like marriage in the world versus marriage in the kingdom. Those are two different things. And a lot of it really is God trying to show you that you need to come up in certain areas, not just for your spouse, but for what God has called you to do.
Yeah.
And I've learned that when you start like dealing with your issues and your past and your hurts and your pains and those things that happened years ago that you try to put off on your spouse,
Yeah.
um, until you really start dealing with that stuff is just going to be there and
Excuse
you're
me.
going to have relational problems and it's not just going to end with your spouse, it's going to be with your children, it's going to be with your brother, sister,
Mhm.
and the extended family, especially those who are closest to you, of course, which is your spouse.
Yeah.
But they usually get the short end of the stick because you don't hide when you're at home,
Yeah.
and sometimes you don't see yourself if you're always alone. So
Mhm.
marriage really exposes you, but it's ultimately so God can like heal you from the hurts, the traumas, the pains, the wounds from the past.
Yeah.
So I think marriage can really be a tool if you allow it to, and you allow God to kind of lead and guide you, like while you're in prayer and things of that nature, to start dealing with those past issues because everybody has them.
Yeah.
You have wounds from church, you have wounds from your mother, your father, whoever.
Yeah.
And you can't really avoid it. Like even being a parent, you can't avoid not wounding your children. I don't think you can have the best life,
Yeah.
but you can overdo the good.
Yep.
You can overdo the bad. You can
Mhm.
be right down the center, and your kids will still have something that hurt their heart so bad.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's really about dealing with you and letting God show you the areas where He wants to heal.
Yeah. And I think one thing that saved us was that we didn't necessarily marry who we would have chosen for ourselves, but we married who God chose for us. And I think that um in that, I think from the naked eye, it's like, how'd y'all end I get that question a lot, like, how'd y'all end up together? Like, y'all seem so different. You know what I'm saying? But I also knew that there was something that needed to push me.
Mhm.
And as much as I hate, God knows I hate being pushed. Oh, it's so annoying. I know that God had ordained our relationship and our marriage. And I think that it is the fact that when you know God has put something together, you work a little bit harder at it versus if I would have just chose our marriage and then it went bad, it was like, okay, I made a bad decision. I can go. Like I can rectify my own mistakes and set myself back on a right path. Where when you know God did it and it doesn't make any real sense for you to have done it on your own because that's not even like how you think or what you look for or what you go after. I think then it's like, well, if God has a purpose to this, then I expect him to be able to do something with it, and it takes the onus off of yourself to feel like you have to be the one controlling everything.
Mm.
Because there were many times in our marriage where I just was like, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what you thinking. I don't know what God is thinking. Everybody tripping. I'm going to bed. And it was so much easier to be like, this ain't my problem. Because I didn't even enter this ring, Lord. So you fix it. I quit. And for real, and I would go to bed. And it was so much easier
Okay.
than for me to be like, what am I going to do? I ain't going to do nothing. I asked for this. So
what was the what would you say was the hardest years?
Oh God, it was literally the hardest was after COVID. So 2020 through 23 to 4 through 24. Because being at home didn't give us an opportunity to reset. And one thing that we're very much alike with is out of sight, out of mind.
Mhm.
And so when we would have an argument and then I would have to go work 2 jobs and you would have to go work 2 jobs and be at the church all day and all this other stuff. By the time we got home, it was just like, well, you hungry? What you want to eat? Forget it. Like I don't even
Right.
have the energy to like rehash this and bring this back up and deal with it. Forget it. Like, but with COVID, we didn't have the opportunities to just leave and walk away and reset. And so we were constantly dealing, being reminded. And then there was nothing to do. There was nothing that got your mind off of whatever you were obsessing about. And I learned that about myself too, is I'm an obsessor.
Mm.
So yeah, those 4 years were probably the hardest. It got progressively worse though out of COVID. Because I just felt like after COVID there was I felt very exposed. I felt very open. I felt very unprotected. And I felt like if I'm going to have to protect myself and I'm going to have to fight by myself and I'm going to have to do all this stuff by myself, then I might as well just be by myself.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
Those I think those were the hardest years. 24 was definitely the hardest.
Yeah.
Years 7, 8 was some challenges too.
Yeah.
I can kind of remember.
Our first year was tough too though, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But that was more so
We were just trying to figure stuff out though.
we were so young too.
So I think that was we were just trying to figure stuff out more so. So it was tougher on that. But I think our relationship, like 7 and then year 7 and then year 13.
Yep.
13 was crazy.
The worst. I see why elevators don't have 13 floors.
13.
It's trash.
13 was tough.
Yeah, it almost called it unexpected end.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but during COVID, I was still going in because I was essential worker, so I was still going in and out.
Yeah.
To work, and then I think you were working from home.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big thing for you because you wanted to get out the house.
Yeah, and I was working from home. I was taking care of the kids and being their teacher.
Oh God!
And still having to cook.
Just being a teacher alone,
right? And clean. And then I was working at the airport.
The times I was at home.
That's what I'm saying.
The teaching.
Yep.
Oh Lord!
And
I just want to peel my face off, just like.
And I felt so unappreciated. Like I'm juggling all this, and I don't complain, and you just. And don't get me wrong, your job was tough, going in and out of people's houses, not knowing if they had COVID or not, like, you know, doing the nursing, and I'm sure mentally like that was tough too, and we just had different types of hard. But I just felt like I was juggling more.
Yeah.
Like you got to go to work, and come home.
Yeah.
Where I had to get up, be mom, be teacher, be employee, be wife.
Those more hats.
Yeah. And I was just exhausted. And then you would come home like, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? Like
the insensitive.
F your dinner.
Yeah, the insensitive.
Yeah.
Well, I had a hard day too. But
You're
it's
right.
definitely different though.
Yeah, it's
And
different
it
hearts.
definitely doesn't not that you're trying to measure who's doing the most,
Yeah.
but dealing with children alone, it
Yes.
requires so
So
much
much.
more patience than
Yes.
other
And
things.
time.
Energy, effort, patience.
Yeah.
Like patience is the key with children.
Yeah.
I understand, like teaching is a calling. That is
Yes.
not just something you just jump into.
Yeah.
Just like when you're doing like nursing or being a doctor, stuff
Yeah.
like that. I think those are calling as well.
Yeah, for sure. You can't
Because
see
you have
death like that and
correct.
sickness and stuff
Correct.
without it affecting you
Yep. And you
if
have to
you're
have
not
certain
called to it.
yeah. And you have to have certain levels of patience as well.
Yeah.
It's different than with children,
Yeah.
but sometimes you're dealing with adult children or they don't
Yeah.
quite understand people that have dementia
Yeah.
and Alzheimer's and
Yeah. Mental health issues.
yes.
And
And you have to be very patient, especially,
yeah.
you know. But that alone, just going back to what you were saying, just being like having to be the teacher and the parent.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's tough.
that's a lot because, times I do with them now with some homework when I have the ability to do it because I get home a little bit later
Mhm.
than you all get home. And sometimes I'd be like, "Come on, man! Like, what 3 plus 2 is
If
3
Johnny had
apples."
5 apples.
I mean, you feel like that, but you really gotta pull your.
That's why that meme is so funny because it's true.
You
Like,
really feel like that though. Like, how much simpler can I explain this?
yeah.
You're 25. Like,
You
that's how
should
you
have learned
feel.
this 10 years ago.
That's how you feel.
Yeah.
So I
For
do
sure.
understand like how you could have been frustrated and like annoyed and like feel underappreciated
Yeah.
because I don't even think I was given much of that because I was so in my own head and in my
Yeah.
own world and what I had going on.
Yeah.
And I felt like I think I drank the Kool-Aid of feeling like, well, I come home every day. I ain't cheating. I could be out here, knocking this person down, knocking this person. I'm in a church, Not saying I did everything completely right per
Yeah.
se, but by the same token, I wasn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had this false sense of, well, you should be appreciating me because
I come home at night.
I do the bare, like I do what in a marriage you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Correct. But it's still measuring with the social media age. Well, this man ain't doing it. That man ain't doing it. That man ain't doing it. Well, I come
You
home
should
every
be
day.
thankful.
You should, yeah,
Yeah.
And
But
it's
and to be honest with you, like I had a point working at the airport where it was just like talking too much. And you get bored, y'all sitting there waiting on flights to come in. It wasn't no flights during COVID, so it ain't nothing to do. And I would like talk about all the stuff I was doing and then the stuff you was doing, and then it would be like, that's all he do, and it's like, oh godly, I shouldn't have said nothing.
Mhm.
So then I'm defending you, which I shouldn't have had to because I should have just shut up. But now I'm defending you, like, oh no, it's not that bad, it's okay. And now people looking at me crazy, like she worked 2 jobs and she take care of her kids and she do all this, and her husband don't do nothing. Call himself a preacher, like, God, messed up again. So that'll start to wear on you too, where it's just like, maybe I shouldn't be defending though. Maybe it ain't all. Maybe I'm missing. Am I missing something, Lord? Like, yeah, it was tough.